going on, going thing.
Hello friends and welcome to another class by Daily English Classroom. This class is for the 8th standard students and we are starting the next unit, unit number 4, Flowers and Showers. This unit is about nature and in this unit we have 4 important lessons to be learned. And the first one is a beautiful story written by Oscar Wilde called The Nightingale and the Rose, which talks about what is real love. And then we have a story by Anton Chekhov, A Day in the Country, and we have 2 beautiful poems from this unit. Song of the Flower by Khalil Gibran and The First Showers by Nalini Sharma. Okay friends, so let's go to this entry activity of this unit. In this entry activity, we can see some pictures given in your textbook, like a tree, a boy, a deer, and clouds and birds, etc. And what are they saying is given in the word bubbles. And what is the tree thinking about? The tree is saying that I am your grandpa. And the little boy is thinking that I am a lion, and the deer is thinking that I am a little girl. So what's explained here is about the poetic device called metaphor. And what is a metaphor? Metaphor is a figure of speech in which 2 things are compared, saying that one thing is another thing. And we have already studied what a simile is. In simile, we say something is like something. It is a comparison by using the words as or like. My love is like a red flower, for example. It is a way of saying something is like something. Whereas when we come to the metaphor, there is a slight difference. It is actually saying that one thing is another thing. For example, here the tree thinks that I am your grandpa. So that's an example for metaphor. Because of some quality or some connection between these 2 things, we say that one thing is another thing. So in what sense is the tree saying that I am your grandpa? It's not saying I am like your grandpa, but here it is said that I am your grandpa. So what is the connection? What is the relation between this tree and the grandfather? Both of them are very old. So when we say the tree is the grandfather, it means the tree is very old. Similarly, when the deer says that I am a little girl, that means it's very young. And this is a kind of comparison because of some kind of relation between the 2 objects. So that's the difference between a simile and a metaphor. And what do the clouds mean by saying that I am an elephant? You have seen an elephant, it's such a big animal. And when the cloud is saying that it is an elephant, it actually is referring to the size of the cloud, maybe the color of the cloud, and the similarity lies there. In other words, we can say that a simile is a direct comparison, whereas a metaphor is an implied comparison. In simile, we use as or like to compare things, whereas in metaphor we are saying that one thing is another thing, and we have to find out the analogy or the likeness which is implied in it. Okay friends, so let's go to the first lesson in this unit, Song of the Flower, which is a poem written by Khalil Gibran. Let's learn something about the poet. Khalil Gibran, 1883 to 1931, he was a Lebanese poet, artist and writer. His most important work is The Prophet, which was written in the year 1923. It is an example of inspirational fiction, including series of philosophical essays written in poetic English prose. The book has been translated into over 20 foreign languages. It is considered as the third most popular poet in the history after Shakespeare and Laozi. And in this poem, the poet is talking about a flower. And so many metaphors are used in this poem. The flower is talking to us. The speaker of this poem is the flower. Let's start the poem. I am a kind word uttered and repeated by the voice of nature. I am a star fallen from the blue tent upon the green carpet. I am the daughter of the elements with whom winter conceived, to whom spring gave birth. I was reared and in the lap of summer, and I slept in the bed of autumn. Here, the poet is talking about the flower. The flower is actually the speaker in this poem. The flower is saying that I am a kind word by the nature. A flower is the gift of nature, and we all feel so happy, excited when we are seeing a flower. Here, the poet says that a flower is the voice of nature. It is an expression of the love and tenderness of nature. Thus, the flower says that it is a kind word uttered and repeated by the voice of nature. Then, the flower goes on telling that I am a star fallen from the blue tent upon the green carpet. Here we can see two words. The blue tent refers to the sky, and the green carpet refers to the nature with full of vegetations. And the flower is a star that is fallen from the sky into the field. The beautiful nature. The flower shines like a star in nature, among the green color of the nature. And the flower also talks about how it is born, reared, and what is the end of the flower. It says that it is the daughter of the elements with whom winter conceived, spring gave birth, and it was reared in summer and slept in the bed of autumn. Here we can see what happens to the flower in all the seasons. And it is conceived in the winter season, and it actually becomes a flower in the spring season, because we know that in the spring season is the time when the flowers bloom. So it is actually conceived in the winter season. It starts its growth in the winter season, and then it slowly becomes a bud, and then it becomes a flower in the spring season, and it really enjoys the warmth of the summer season. It was reared and it enjoys its life in the summer season, and its death comes in the autumn season. And here the sleeping refers to the falling down of the flower, and it is sleeping in the autumn season. So in this first stanza of this poem, called The Song of the Flower, we can get an idea about what the flower is talking to us. The flower says that it is a gift of nature, and it is like a star in the field. And we also get an idea about the different stages of its growth, how it is formed how it is conceived in the winter season, and how it becomes a flower in the spring season, and how it enjoys in the summer season, and also the end of the flower when it is withered in the autumn season. The life of the flower and its 4 different stages. Okay, friends, so let's go to the second stanza of the poem. At dawn, I unite with the breeze to announce the coming of light. At eventide, I join the birds in bidding the light farewell. The plains are decorated with my beautiful colors, and the air is scented with my fragrance. In this stanza, the flower is talking to us about what are the duties of this flower. The flower wakes up at dawn, that means the early morning, and it is welcoming the light wind or the breeze. At dawn, I unite. I here is the flower. In the morning, in the early morning or at dawn, the flower joins with the breeze to welcome the daylight, to announce the coming of the light. And it has got another duty in the evening to say goodbye to light. At that time, it joins with the birds in saying goodbye or farewell to the light. Here we can see the flower is welcoming the light in the morning and bidding farewell to the light in the evening. In the morning, it joins with the breeze, and in the evening, it joins with the birds. And it also gives the sweet smell or fragrance to the place. The plains are decorated with my beautiful colors, and the air is scented with my fragrance. Here, the flower is telling us that it really makes the plains or the field very beautiful with its different colors. The flower makes the nature beautiful with its multicolor, gives the fragrance or the sweet smell and scent to the air. Here, the flower is referring to its beauty and also its smell. Next stanza. As I embrace slumber, the eyes of night watch over me, and as I awaken, I stare at the sun, which is the only eye of the day. In this stanza, the flower is talking about how it is sleeping. At night, morning sun wakes the flower. Here, the word slumber refers to sleep. As I embrace slumber means when the flower is about to sleep, there is someone who is watching him, who is a guard of this flower, who is just watching from the sky, the eye of the night, and that refers to the moon. At night, the moon watches over the flower and making sure that the flower is sleeping very comfortably. And in the morning, the sun comes and wakes up the flower. The sun here is the eye of the day. And we have the eye of the day and eye of the night. Eye of the day is the sun and eye of the night is the moon. At night, he is guarded by the moon, and in the morning time, there is someone to wake him up, and that is the eye of the day, and that is the sun. The next stanza. I drink dew for wine and hearken to the voice of the birds and dance to the rhythmic swaying of the grass. This stanza talks about what the flower does. It drinks the dew as wine, and it loves to listen to the sound of the birds. It enjoys the music of the birds, and also it loves to dance according to the movement of the grass. It enjoys its life by drinking the dew, which is the wine of the flower, and it loves to dance when there is a breeze or when the grass is swaying in the breeze. it also dances in tune with the swaying of the grass. In the next stanza of the poem, the flower talks about its importance to the human beings. The flower represents many things. Sometimes it refers to happiness and sometimes it refers to sadness, because we give flower as a symbol of our love to a dead person, and also we give flower as a symbol of our happiness. I am a lover's gift. I am the wedding wreath. I am the memory of a moment of happiness. I am the last gift of the living to the dead. I am a part of joy and part of sorrow. In this stanza, the flower says that it is a part of both joy and sadness. Sometimes the flower represents the happy moments in life, whereas sometimes it refers to the sadness. A lover gives a flower as a symbol of his happiness and love towards his lover. And so here the flower becomes a representation of the joys of life. It's a gift of the lover to his or her lover. I am a lover's gift. And at the time of wedding also, we use wedding wreaths to show our happiness. So flower can mean both positive and negative things. It can be a representative of the mirth or happiness. At the same time, it can also mean the sadness or sorrow. Where can we find the happiness? Which are the occasions when we use a flower as a symbol of our happiness? There, when you gift a flower to your lover, when you give a wedding wreath to the bride or the bridegroom. And these are moments of happiness. At the same time, we give wreath to the dead person. Then the flower becomes a symbol of sadness. And the poet says that the flower is the last gift of the living people to a dead person. Here, the flower is talking about the wreath that we give to a dead person. So, the flower says that I am a part of joy and a part of sorrow. The last stanza or the concluding stanza of this poem sums up the total philosophy of this poem. We have something to learn from the flower. Let's see what it is. But I look up high to see only the light, and never look down to see my shadow. This is wisdom which man must learn. The flower says that there is a wisdom or knowledge that every human beings have to learn from me, and that is to look up high. A flower is always facing the sun to get light from the sun. And human beings, they often think about their sadness and waste their time thinking about some misdeeds in the past. Whereas a flower, it always looks into the sun to get positive energy. This is something that we all should learn. It always looks at the sun, or it looks at the light and not look down for the shadow. Here, the flower means that every human being has to learn this knowledge or this wisdom from flower. We are all tempted to look at the darker side of life rather than the lighter or the brighter side of life. A flower is always looking at the light. It never looks down. It always looks up at the light. So we all should be like the flower, look at the positive side of nature and not the darker side of nature. This is something that we all should learn according to the flower. Okay friends, so that's all about this poem, Song of the Flower by Khalil Gibran. This poem talks about the flower, the specialities of the flower, and about the life of the flower, and what does it symbolize, and finally what is the message that is given to us from the flower, and what is the thing that we have to learn from the flower. That's all for today, and thanks for watching and have a nice day.